Hey, what's going on, everybody, and welcome back to my channel, Movie Files. Elliot back again with a brand new early movie review, and today we're discussing the new neon horror sci-fi film by the name of In the Earth, which is written and directed by Ben Wheatley and did premiere last year at Sundance, and it will be coming to limited theaters April 23rd as well as wide release on April 30th. Now, I got a chance to check it out early, and I'm gonna let you all know if this sci-fi horror film is worth checking out in this spoiler-free review. But before we dive into it, make sure you're following me on all my other social media accounts, which you can find those links in the description below. If you are new to the channel, welcome to the community. Consider subscribing to the channel, and while you all are at it, make sure you hit that notification bell. That way you can get the alert for when I drop new content. It will mean a lot to me if you all can like and share this spoiler-free review of In the Earth. It helps out the channel a lot, but I also appreciate all the support. And in the comments below, let me know if you guys have heard of this film, if you were lucky enough to see it at Sundance. But of course, once you've seen the movie, let me know your pros, your cons. Were you scared? What time of day did you watch this film? And let's just have a discussion about this film in the comments below. So for those that aren't too familiar with the premise of this film, because I knew very little about it, I saw like a quick little teaser for the film, but the thing that sold me was the director and writer of this film, Ben Wheatley, who, I mean, you talk about a diverse, versatile filmography. I mean, he can hit you with a kill list film, he can come back with you with more recently a romantic thriller in Rebecca, and then he can give you like a horror segment in the anthology ABCs of Death. So he's a very diverse, interesting director. So let's get into a little bit of the story without spoilers. So you basically have two scientists. We have Martin and we have Emma, who are research scientists who are given the task to go looking for Dr. Olivia Whittle, who's gone missing, who's gone cold. She hasn't been taking her calls. She hasn't been writing the base back. So they are tasked to look for her in this mythical forest that has a little bit of a lore and a little bit of backstory behind it. In going to this research or kind of rescue mission of a sorts, they are, unfortunately, Martin and Elma are attacked at night, leaving them with no shoes, no equipment, no ways to get in communication with people. And they come across this character by the name of Zach, who's kind of an outsider and has an interesting belief system. And from that, that's where things kick off. So getting into my positive, starting off with the setup. This film, first and foremost, I love that this film acknowledges the times that we live in, right? So Ben Wheatley, the writer and director, actually wrote this film, directed this film, shot this film, edited this film, all during last year's pandemic. And this film actually has things in regarding to the pandemic. There are people wearing masks, there are people sanitizer, they're testing, taking their temperature. So I read that Ben Wheatley wanted to reflect this film in regards to the times that we're living in, right? To kind of make it feel a little bit more grounded in reality, which I appreciate. And by no means is this like a pandemic film. This isn't, Lockdown from HBO Max or last year, Songbird. This isn't a film based around the pandemic. It just happens to be embracing the times that we're in, which I thought was really unique. Just kind of seeing, being a fan of film, how films now moving forward will be going into production and how they're going to implement what's going on in the real world. But as I digress, going back to the setup, I like the fact that, again, it kind of reminds me a little bit of Annihilation at times, right? In regards to a group of scientists going into a forest that has a bit of a mythical type of lore to it, and people are going missing. So by no means is it a carbon copy of Annihilation. It's his own film, but it kind of reminded me of Alex Garland Annihilation in regards to there's no signal in the forest. And again, what is actually in the forest kind of sets the mood for our characters. And then in regards to, again, once our characters are under attack and they come across this character, Zach, that's again when things really kind of pick up and we learn more about the forest. We learn more a little bit about the lore of what people are fearful of the forest, which again, that all kind of takes place within the first half, which I think the setup in the first half is a really strong point of this film, which kind of get into the performances here. I thought for the most part, our two main characters, Martin and Elma, were fine. They were fine characters, but easily my favorite character of the film is when we are introduced to Zach. Because I felt like once that takes place, that's when the film really picks up its personality and really things kind of get more interesting. So I thought Zach, the actor that played him, was very interesting. Again, Zach is a loner. He has his own belief system. He has his ways about life. So I thought that was the best performance out of the entire movie. And when the film really kind of picks up life is when we are introduced to the Zach character. But also, I do want to highlight one of the best things about this film is the actual production. It really impressed me. Again, knowing that this was shot in the pandemic, and I mentioned two other films with HBO Max's Lockdown and Songbird, they just didn't look good. They just weren't interesting films, but they didn't look good. This film is not that. Even though it was shot in a pandemic, you would never know it because the visuals were incredible, even to the design in regards to the score of this film, sci-fi, kind of techno horror vibes. I love the striking images that were given in this film, the use of camera, there's a lot of strobe lights, so be prepared for kind of being disoriented at certain points of the film, but also in regards to, again, this is a very trippy sci-fi horror film that I was just really involved with in regards to once stuff really kind of takes place, especially in the third act, which we'll talk about here in a bit. But I thought that the production was incredible, and I'll just prepare you guys with one word: foot. That's all I'll say with that. And then, as I had mentioned lastly, the third act is where I think most of the conversation about this film will be had, because the third act is very trippy. The visuals, the score, the striking images, the use of color, it is intense. It is an incredible use of lights in this film, and it is a very trippy experience within the third act. And like I said, it makes you feel very disoriented, especially me watching this at 12 o'clock at night. I was like, what is going on? And that is a compliment for this film. So going into my criticisms here, I mentioned Martin and Alma. They were fine. They gave, good line delivery. Their performances were okay. I just felt like there was something missing from those two characters. I think for me, it was just the lack of who are these characters. We get a little bit of stuff here and there, but not enough to make me really engage with these characters. And I mentioned the first act and the third act were probably the strongest elements of this film, which leads us to the second act. And I'm going to be honest, to me, the second act is where the film kind of drags. It gets pretty boring, if I'm being honest, and I wish the film would have focused more on Martin, more on Elma, instead of focusing on them being stuck in this particular situation. And I'll just say, in that second half, there's a lot of exposition dump, scientific exposition dump, as well as the little bit more of the belief system of certain characters. So that second half of the film is really where the weakest elements of the film are. And then again, I wish there was a little bit more lore in regards to the forest and in regards to this creature. I felt it was very underdeveloped. And again, without diving into spoilers, they are on a rescue mission of a sorts to find this Dr. Olivia, and I'll just say Olivia was my least favorite character, and I'll just kind of leave it at that. So before I give you all my overall thoughts and my score of this film, In the Earth, make sure to like the video, share the video, leave your thoughts in the comments once you've seen the film, and of course subscribe to the channel, hit that bell, that way you don't miss any of my other early movie reviews as well as TV reviews. With that being said, overall this film definitely gave me Midsummer meets Annihilation vibes, but still manages to be its own film. I was beyond impressed by the creative aspect of this film, from the production design, the use of the camera, the lighting, as well as the great score. There's a lot of trippy images that kept me engaged throughout the film. And I'll say this, when it comes to Ben Wheatley, he continues to impress me with his versatile filmography. Even though I feel like the film had some pacing issues and some uninteresting moments within the second act, there are still more positives than negatives. So with that being said, I'll give In the Earth a 3 out of 5. And I'll recommend you all give this a watch. If you're into sci-fi horror films, I think you'll enjoy this film. This film will be again available in limited release come April 23rd, as well as wide release April 30th. So if you are in a place of the world where theaters are open, you feel safe and comfortable, go to see movies in the theaters, I recommend you all give it a watch. And when you do, let me know what you all thought of the film, your pros, your cons. Did you like the trippy images? Did you want more character development? Did you want to learn more about the lore of this kind of mythos of the forest? Let's discuss it all in the comments. As always, make sure to like the video, share the video, leave your thoughts in the comment section, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell, that way you don't miss any of my other early content. Hope you all enjoyed this review. Hope you're staying safe. We'll see you in the next video.